So, I have a challenge question for you.
Oh.
Just because this is my first comedy that I've covered, a lot of the other things I cover are drama and they're quite serious, so I don't get to really have like too much fun. And I was like, well, she's a creative, so let's see if you're down for it. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. But if you could describe this movie in 2 to 4 lines as a rhyme, how would you do it?
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, you're really putting me my like screenwriter skills on the on the table, right? Let's see. Okay, for a colorful movie that's pretty funny, you should come see Egghead and Twinkie, which was filmed where it's sunny. And the characters are very likable and chummy. That was horrible, but there you go. That's the best I got.
Thank you for sitting down and having a chat with me. I really enjoyed your film.
Thank you very much.
I watched it and I was just like, this is just the perfect mix of comedy but sentiment as well. And I was wondering, several things. I wanted to know, were there any influences or inspirations that like led to how you wanted to style your film? Even with some of the more so comic book-like structures where there's a movement happening and then you have the text that shows the sound or whatever for that movement. Like those details were really cool. So I wanted to know what helps you style the film the way you wanted to.
Thanks so much. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of different inspirations and influences for this film. I knew very early on that I wanted to have animation mixed with live action, just because I love watching animated content. So I'd say there, I'd seen some films where they had mixed the two, like Diary of a Teenage Girl does that. Obviously a very different tone with that movie, but there's a mixture of like 2D elements with live action footage. So I watched a few movies kind of like that. And then also I'd say on the script, Juno was definitely an influence. I'd say you could draw some parallels between Polly Bleeker and Egghead for sure. And then I think in terms of the edit, the pacing of the edit, a lot of our kind of fun creative transitions, definitely looking at the work of Edgar Wright, because we really wanted it to have that kind of kinetic energy. And the film Scott Pilgrim in particular is based off of a graphic novel, and with Egghead and Twinkie we wanted it to have kind of that like anime type vibe, because Twinkie and Egghead, they really enjoy anime. Twinkie wants to be an animator when she grows up. So we also watched, or I watched at least, a lot of Japanese anime shows and pulled some influences from that for our animated sequences.
That is amazing. I noticed the Scott Pilgrim and Juno aspects, and that's why I was wondering. So that's cool. You did a great job with that. All we all did. So what makes this coming of age, coming out story very specific to Gen Z?
Oh, I think that coming of age has changed so much in just the last 20 years, especially with the advent of social media. It's really changed everything. And I think especially for queer youth, if you feel alone where you are, like there are people that can't relate to you, you can find like-minded folks on the internet. So for myself, as like a young queer teen, I started making YouTube videos when I was 15, 16, and I started getting really affirming comments from people because I would post videos of myself like wearing a suit and stuff like that and experimenting with kind of gender expression, and the YouTube community was really supportive of that. So I kind of have some like first-hand experience of like finding support through the internet. So with Twinkie, with her character, she like finds BD, who's her love interest, through Instagram, and they start this online relationship. And I think that that's so true for so many queer people, is you find like friends or even love interests through the internet. So that definitely, I think, plays a really key and central role in the film.
Right. And what you already talked about the comedic pacing, but what have you learned about comedy during the filming and production experience?
Yeah, comedy is hard. It's deceptively hard. And I think, honestly, on set, it was more effortless because you're playing with the energy of the moment, and our talent are amazing. Louis Tamio, who plays Egghead, is just a hilarious person, and Sabrina, who plays Twinkie, plays off of him so well. So a lot of times they would just make me crack up on set, you know? I think the harder part was when we got into post and trying to capture that same energy when, you know, you're cutting different shots together, because you can kill a joke so quickly in post if you get the timing of that wrong. So it was a lot of experimentation where we would, you know, produce a new cut and we'd show it to a test audience and gauge, you know, what are the jokes people are laughing at, what are the beats that aren't working. We'd take it back into the editing room and cut it again. And yeah, just a bit of trial and error, I would say.
Wow. How long did it take production, just filming from pre to post?
Too long, too long. It took forever. Pre-pro was extended because the COVID pandemic hit in the middle of pre-pro for us. So we were supposed to shoot in the summer of 2020, and then COVID happened, and we were like, well, can't shoot anymore because it just wasn't safe to do so. So we ended up pushing production by an entire year. And then production itself was an extended process because we were working with a largely volunteer crew of really young people. Like, the majority of people that worked on this set were between the ages of 18 and 25. So a lot of us, you know, had college classes, we had, you know, full-time jobs, people were juggling a lot of obligations while also working on the film. So because of that, our whole production from start to finish took place over 3 different phases for a total of over 40 days of shooting. So it was definitely like running a marathon, for sure.
And can you talk about the crowdfunding you did on TikTok?
Oh yes, TikTok. TikTok played a really big role in getting this film made because, again, you know, this is a really micro-budget project. Nobody you've ever heard of has worked on this movie. You know, we're all like normal people that just really wanted to tell this story and are really passionate about the message behind it. So because COVID delayed our production and we couldn't shoot, we were all stuck inside, I was like, let me start making some TikToks to promote the movie and see if we can't, you know, get some interest. So we were very lucky. I made a pitch video, but we posted on TikTok and it went viral, which is just one of those things I don't even know. I couldn't explain to you how that happened. But it was great. We really built a lot of support on that app, and then we were able to kind of channel them to our Seed and Spark campaign, and we raised over $22,000 from total strangers on the internet, which is really abnormal. Like, there were thousands of people that I have never met and probably will never meet that made this movie possible. So the internet played a big role, not just in the narrative of the film, but actually the making of the film as well.
That's amazing. And so I saw the sort of like circuit tour of film festivals y'all have endeavored in for this film. And how has that been for you so far? And what about Seattle are you most excited about?
Oh, the festivals have been amazing. This is my debut feature, so it's the first time that I've been to festivals with a feature, and it's just so gratifying to sit in a room full of people that are all experiencing the same thing for an hour and a half. And also just to get confirmation that the movie is like still funny, because I've watched the movie probably 100 times, and so for me I'm like, oh, this joke again, you know. So I'm like re-experiencing it, I think, through seeing it with an audience. So we've been to BFI Flair, we went to London for that, for our international premiere. That was amazing, to get out of the country as well and see Europe. We've been to TIFF, Next Wave up in Canada, and that was incredible because that fest is specifically targeting a younger demographic, so we had a lot of teenagers to come out to see the movie at that fest. And now we're here at Seattle, and Seattle has been incredible. I think this one, I was especially excited about Seattle just because of how big it is and how many films come, and the audiences here are so loyal to the festival. And honestly, we had our first screener here last night, and the audience was so receptive and so vocal, and yeah, we've had a blast.
Hi, I am Danielle Fontaine. I'm the producer of Egghead and Twinkie, and the thing I'm most excited about being at Seattle International Film Festival this weekend is just getting to experience the film with an audience.
And I'm Christy League. I'm an editor for Egghead and Twinkie. I think my favorite part so far has been hearing the audience laugh and enjoying the jokes that we've put together for them. This crowd has been beyond our expectations, so that's been really exciting.
For me, my favorite experience was anytime a problem would arise, trying to resolve it without having to involve Sarah because I wanted her to be focused completely on directing. Didn't always work. She had to step in and help a lot, but whenever I could get away with it, that was the best part for me.
I mean, I wasn't on set a lot. Obviously, I was in a dark room for most of the film. But those moments that we actually got together, a lot of post-production was done kind of remotely. So the few times that we did get to sit together and discuss, those are probably my favorite moments because I love collaborating with Sarah. She's like my best friend. So it's just that camaraderie we have that just makes the whole process so much better for me. So.